Hey guys, Matteo here, welcome back to a new video, and today I want to talk about something that I know a lot of people are interested in, and it's about autofocus and in-camera image stabilization, or IBIS, EBIS, whatever you want to call it. So a few days ago I made a post on the community tab on YouTube and everybody went crazy with comments. Everybody was like super excited about this video. So I figured let's just get it out of the way and put it up there and see what you guys think. Keep in mind, this is just mainly personal opinion. I am a cinematographer, I shoot commercials, I shoot documentaries, I shot a feature film, I shoot a bunch of things. But one thing you guys should keep in mind is that most of the time I actually work by myself and maybe with a camera assistant, maybe a gaffer. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because a lot of times I have people say, no, but I need autofocus because I'm a one-man band. Well, I work a lot as a one-man band and I started out as a one-man band and I never ever used IBIS, EBIS, and autofocus. And talking about starting out, I want to actually talk about the camera that I used to have when I started out. So it was a T2i Canon and then a 5D Mark II, and then I evolved into the original Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera. And let me tell you something, the original Pocket doesn't have image stabilization and it doesn't have autofocus. And I have to be honest with you guys, if I was starting out today, maybe I would have get an A7S III or whatever camera with autofocus or image stabilization. But I'm glad there were not these kind of camera, sensor, autofocus available at the time, so I was able to learn my craft. The point that I want to make though is you don't have to think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to operate this camera without being shaky, so I need image stabilized sensor. Because I didn't have that. And I was able to learn, because the moment you're gonna leave your A7S III and they're gonna give you a call like, hey, we love your work, can you please come on set, we have an Alexa Mini, you're gonna freak out because you don't know, you have no clue how to operate a camera without a stabilized sensor, because you don't have any clue how to operate a camera without autofocus. So this is an advice that I'm giving to people. I know you have this tool that they seem good and whatever, but you have to keep in mind that at some point you're gonna jump to a real cinema camera. Reds, they don't have image stabilized sensor. Blackmagic, nope. Arri Alexa, nope. And they don't have autofocus either. And the most beautiful lenses on the market right now, guys, they don't have autofocus. They're not stabilized lenses. We're talking about Kukas 4, talking about Cat anamorphic, like R. And that's why I don't care about image stabilization and autofocus when a new camera comes out. Is it gonna make your life easier at the beginning? Yes, but it's gonna make your life way more complicated once you're gonna level up. So something very clear in mind, this is not a personal opinion. There isn't autofocus on professional shoots. There isn't image stabilized sensor on professional shoots. It just doesn't exist. And this is not a personal opinion, this is a fact. If I show up tomorrow in LA on a Samsung commercial and I ask, hey, can I have my autofocus camera? They're gonna fire me. Hey, do you have a stabilized sensor, like a camera with a stabilized? They're gonna fire me. And a lot of people ask me then, how do you stabilize your footage? Do you use post-production? Do you use a gimbal? Well, I never use the gimbal, and I almost never stabilize my footage unless I'm on a tripod and with a telephoto and it's windy and the footage does this. But other than that, I think the key thing here is adding weight to your camera. Once your camera is heavier, the gravity is gonna bring it towards the ground. So it's gonna be more stable. Another trick could be the Easy Rig. I have the Easy Rig Mini Max, which is amazing. And I honestly recommend it to everybody because it's not for every shoot, because sometimes it kind of cover the handle move a little bit. It's a bit too stable. But for a lot of stuff that I do, I use the Easy Rig, you know? And now you're gonna ask me, so how do you stabilize your footage back then when you just started? Because that's the main question, right? So for people who are starting out, how do I stabilize my footage? The workaround that I have for that, I remember with the original Pocket and the 5D, I used my Rhino slider pretty much all the time. That's what I used to do. All my weddings, they were all shot with slider all the time. And then moving to the autofocus thing, something I have to tell you, I never used autofocus in my entire life. I'm not using autofocus right now. I just sit on a chair, I point the camera to the chair, pull the focus, and then I sit down and I have the focus peaking on the monitor, and I'm just fine. The thing with autofocus that people like not sure they realize, and trust me, a lot of people shot behind the scene for me or like second camera or whatever where they use the autofocus, and I saw what the autofocus did, and I'm talking about Sony cameras, and I swear I can tell you immediately if the camera is in autofocus. Because even if it's now is much better than it used to be before, the focus thing, when it searches for focus, I can tell right away it is from the autofocus and not from a human hand. And that's the beauty of pulling your manual focus. You're gonna miss it sometimes. It's not gonna be perfect. There's nothing you can do about it. Manual focus is just so unique and so imperfect, not perfect, imperfect, that it makes everything more natural. And don't get me wrong, I know there's people out there, they're shooting on a gimbal and they need autofocus because they have to follow whatever on a gimbal, and that's fine, that's how it goes right now. I'm just saying that when I started, I was trying to solve this problem, working around them and finding solutions. And all of that made me a better cinematographer, made me a better one-man band shooter, made me a better camera operator. Because like, now I can operate my camera, I can capture incredible stable footage even from a moving car, even on a 35mm or 50mm sometimes. If for some reason I don't have an AC, I can pull my own focus without going to the director and say, oh, we need an AC, I can pull my own focus, you know? So it made me a better overall cinematographer, more like a 360 degrees cinematographer, and I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful because I had to learn my craft. But when I hear people saying, oh, the focus puller is not gonna be a job anymore, I'm like, what? What are you talking about? If you try to go again on a professional set and say, oh, we don't need a focus puller because I have autofocus, they're gonna fire you. It might be helpful for some situation where you have your gimbal filming a wedding, absolutely. But the problem with autofocus that I have, it might miss it. And when it miss it, it's much worse than when you miss it by your hand. And also down the road, you know, you might get some jobs as a first AC. So you need to know how to pull focus, or you might get some job as a camera operator. It's not that people just go from nothing to top cinematographer. You have to go through like a path, and this path include jobs like camera operator and first AC or second AC and this kind of stuff. So I would say, let's just wrap it up here. Again, I don't want this to be a polemic and reasonable argument. I want it to be a source of discussion and, you know, a starting point for people to think about their workflow, whatever they do, if they really need autofocus and image stabilization. So I just told you this little story. I just give you some facts, some opinion, why I definitely do not care about autofocus and about IBIS, whatever you want to call it, and why I think you shouldn't neither. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I see you in the next one. Thanks for following. Bye.